you know, if it hadn't been for this, who knows, man? So, but the helter-skelterness of it, I don't. I wish it was more A to B. You know,
Yeah.
'cause these things just happen, and you take advantage of them because you're really like almost like a guerrilla artist, I guess. The way you're handling things, but you're really handling them. You know, which I really appreciate. You know, but, you know,
Thanks.
you know.
I'm looking forward to us doing a show together. Trying to find a good space to do it in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in a rush to do it, but, you know, I'd like to work towards it. And if we can figure out where we're going to do it at, that will help us, you know, get some images of what we want to show together, general concept going for the show, and just kind of pitch that to some galleries. Who knows, maybe nearby Chicago, even, you know, try, but maybe around here. I've kind of been at most of the galleries around here at some point with an exhibition or getting my work in a group show. And I'm looking to go to the next thing, you know. I don't have to keep going to the same, you know, place over and over again. And I think that, you know, we've been working so hard that we deserve to get our work out there a little bit more, you know, just
Well,
in our neighborhood.
you've been working hard, man. You know, I would have worked a lot harder because there were like three different lines. One for the sculpture. Well, the sculpture was really the most prominent line where I thought, yeah, there's a series of these I would love to do, like that
Yeah.
tree stump sculpture. I really felt I could do like half a dozen more of those, probably even more. You know, with just a whole, you know, show of just those types of things. But I never did figure out how to get the water. I really wanted the water to circulate
Yeah.
through those plastic tubes. I never really figured that out. And then the crossword puzzle, paper mache things. I thought I could probably do half a dozen more of those, you know. But
Nice.
just haven't gotten around to doing them, you know. And of course, the terracotta sculpture I would like to do more because I never did a standing one where you use the pipes and stuff like that. But you know, you got to get out there and make a living. That's the way I look at it. You know,
Yeah, you got to.
that gets in the way. You know.
Oh, yeah.
But I expect to do some painting this summer, probably some landscapes and maybe some more figurative stuff, and maybe put together a show. You know, after that.
My friend Steve Zotto, that guy Steve Zotto on Facebook, he had a lot of good things to say about your work. He's looking forward to meeting you sometime. We've been trying to organize like just a random gathering of artists and poets, whoever wants to show up, you know, musicians, creative people, and we did one like last month at Denny's, and it was cool. We actually hung out. We all hung out for 6.5 hours there talking, and we saw shifts come and go, you know, and it was awesome. But we're gonna have another one this Saturday at 10:30, and if you need a ride, you know, whenever you want to go, just let me know, and I'll pick you up. It's at this Denny's. It's like in Southgate,
Okay.
and we're like we want to do different places too, but we just started it there because just a place to start. But and I used to hang out there, you know, back when I was a teenager in college. Now and then, you know, a lot of people hang out at the late night diners with their friends and talk philosophy or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of throwing our ideas together and whatever. You know, it just really helps for us all to form kind of like a loose collective and stay in touch. Because not even the internet, you know, I mean, that helps, but and that's how this is happening. But at the same time, you can't have a full interchange on the internet. You know, there's nothing like getting together and actually having a long conversation about things, debate or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I think debates are the most hardest thing to do on the internet because you can only get one little bit out and they get a bit out and then it sounds, you know, they don't get the idea or whatever and it sounds abrupt, but it's an important part of, you know, philosophical discussion is debating something, you know.
You're the first
So,
person that said that, man. Because I didn't realize how much I missed that too. Because you never really see that in all its full dimensions on television, you know.
no,
And I was just thinking, like, because I read this book, it was the debates of Lincoln and Douglas, you know, and I kind of feel that's part of the reason why Obama got elected. Because
oh
if people
yeah,
had actually read what was in those debates,
yeah,
they would have seen how serious an issue, you know,
yeah,
slavery and the Civil War and states, all of that was, you know, and how politic Lincoln really was. You know, he wasn't totally, you know, advocating, you know, freeing the slaves because it was a human rights issue. You know, he was really kind of, you know, politicking, well, how can I do this, you know, without having half the country, you know, walk out on me, which they did anyway, you know, and how can I do it without, you know, angering the friends that I make these off-color jokes with, you know, so angry that they'll want to kill me, which they did anyway, you know. And it was
yeah,
really interesting, you know. But
yeah,
as you
yeah,
say, the debates, I don't see people really they superficially handle ideas, you know,
yeah,
but it's more like sound bites
yeah,
and cliches and stuff like that. And they talk in these types of things,
right.
thinking they fully explore the subject when they barely scratch the surface
Oh
of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But some of them, I love debates. Like I watch them all the time, and like I think yeah, you get a lot of the war of the sound bites, but it goes deeper to where you can really see who the person is. I think you get glimpses, like when you saw when I watched George Bush and Obama debate. You know, it was so clearly apparent. You know who should be at the head of the country. I mean, you can tell the character a lot more, you know. And then every debate before that, you know, in every election, I just find them so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's definitely a lost art, you know, where people can't debate and not get into an argument. I mean, you could tell in the presidential debates there were many arguments and they were angry at one another. But you know, as long as we don't go to throwing punches in another group, then you know, it's going to be positive. Something's coming out of it.
Yeah, at least if you get a good airing of what everybody's ideas are, you know, why they're championing these particular ideas in this particular pattern or prioritizing them along this particular line, then it's a good debate, you know. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was telling a couple of my friends from the library that Obama is kind of like Adlai Stevenson. Like when he got elected, it was like I imagine Adlai Stevenson would have been if he had become president, you know, because he's sort of cerebral, kind of intellectual, you know. But when you listen to him, you really can't understand what he's talking about, you know. It's very clear that it's not that much passion to it, as say with a Kennedy or Reagan or somebody like that. But as far as like a novice like me to the political scene, okay, at least I understand the fundamentals of what it is that he's talking about and he's addressing to the American public. And that
Yeah.
it helps a lot, you
Oh
know.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really makes. I think everyone should watch it. All the Americans. I know a lot of people just shut them off, but like they say, you know, the long-term saying was people want to vote for the person that they think they can sit down and have a beer with, you know, and that image kind of gets projected a lot when people are electing, you know, going through that process of trying to get elected, and then they get elected, and then they become who they really are. And but like through the debate, you can see if you really pay attention, like you can see who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
Here's at least 20 now. I'll give you another 5 next time I see you, whenever that is. If you want to look up or go into that place, or you know, talk another time, talk about artwork or whatever.
Well, yeah, man, you know, because I appreciate it. No, this is cool, man.
Thanks a
Because
lot.
I wasn't going to charge you anything, but, you
No, I really
know.
appreciate it. I'll give you another 5 because you deserve, you know,
No,
you deserve it coming back.
I'm just struggling just like you are, you know. And
Well, I'm really blessed. I got a couple jobs, you know, coming my way, and so I always try to, you know, especially for something I want, you It's gonna be great to have this book and read it.
Well, you say that now. Wait till you read it. Well, you know, my brother, you liked it, but I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look through it. Oh man, there's too much profanity in this. But,
Oh, that's good. Man. It's realistic, you know.
yeah, I try to, you know, just try to duplicate the way my friends were when, you know, we sit down, you know, and trade all this misinformation on the playground about sex and girls. And, you know, then I had the art thing that I learned, you know, when I was at the College of Creative Studies. And
Yeah, yeah.
So it's got its points here and there, I think. It's got its moments, you know.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate your effort here. And I'm a real slow reader, so I probably won't get it done in the next week, but
I understand.
I'll definitely chip away at it over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that, you know.
I,
You gave me your support, really.
I appreciate it
Yeah.
that you're doing this. And, you know, it's like to get to this point where you got your art, you know, and where you can hand it out and give it to people like this and they can take it with them forever and just give it to the next person, that's exciting.
Yeah, because I did the cover myself, you know, because I did it on this Hewlett Packard. It had a graphics program, you know, and I just reversed the
Awesome.
colors on the thing. And so, and then they had a print, you know, how to put the title on there, and I did that. And so it was funny when they called me, you know, well, do you have anything? Yeah, I got something, you know, because they wanted me to do an art book. Actually, that's really what they called me about.
Wow.
Was did I want to take my art and, you know, self-publish it as a book and whatnot. But I really didn't have I didn't have it in a format, you know, and I didn't have like little captions, you know, this happened at such and such a date, and I met. Whereas now on Facebook, I got, you know, little captions.
Yeah, yeah.
Because one girl that we graduated with, I said, yeah, so and so and so and so, you know, I felt really, you know, passionate about her. But it must have been half a dozen times I wanted to deck her. You know, I could say, you know, stuff in it and say, okay, now it's something, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, but yeah, I got on flash drive Art Book 1, Art Book 2. You know,
Sweet.
now I got to get the money like I did for this. You know, 'cause I started to do it with. I had some monies left over from the student loans and grants that they used to help me get this particular course. But you know how when it's somebody else's money, you don't really know how much you should use and how much you should keep because you know eventually you're gonna have to pay that back. It's not really your money, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I spent it as best as wisely as I could, you know, to do. I spent it in such a way that I was hoping that I would double it or triple it. I still haven't learned how to do that, and so now I've got less than, you know, $20 in my bank account. But I tried to, you know, get a job so I could add to the savings account and whatnot. But it didn't work out. So I don't know. But as I say, you know. Have you done any more stuff at Motor City Brewing? No.
I did a show there maybe a year ago
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, and it was on leap year day. That year was, you know, it was leap year, and I noticed that one of the Wednesday open shows was on leap year day. I'm like, I gotta take that, you know, the one day every 4 years that you get that extra day.
Uh huh.
So I kind of did all these sketches, large sketches that a lot of them weren't resolved even by the time. I just wanted to kind of get some fresh stuff, you know, up on the walls in there. And I don't see that place as being super serious. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of artists and sometimes collectors who come there. But to me, you know, I wanted to show people what I'm trying to do and put together concepts. So I put together all these sketches and landscapes and things I was working on at that moment. And it was cool. But I've done about like 4 shows there, I think. And I wrote to them, and they sent out an email to everybody saying, we need artists, we need artists. I think this was a year ago. So whenever Leap Year Day, maybe that was 2 years ago now, which time flies so fast, but so I was like, I don't know, you know, okay. And so I sent them an email back. I'm like, oh, I'll do another show. You know, never heard back from them. But I know that they're always looking for artists to do shows there. And I think a lot of times now they don't have artists on Wednesday, which I think is sad. But guess nothing can last forever. It was going pretty strong for about 10 years over there, and you could actually sell some work,
Mm-hmm.
mostly not expensive stuff, but if you keep it in the range of like under $200, from 50 or from 25 to 200, it's really tempting for people to buy it. And so I sold some pieces, but I don't plan on doing anything else there anytime soon.
I got it.
I did
Because
that 4 times. And,
more times the
and it's a one-day thing. You do all this effort, and you got to be prepared for that letdown. That high, and then the letdown. Oh, I have this big show, and you see it. You got all prepared for it, and then that night you got to take it all
down, yeah.
And so that happens there.
Did you sell well the 4 times?
I think every show I sold at least one piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I got some money back every show.
Okay. Okay.
And it does bring some people out of the woodwork. Like I was shocked when they came out to my show. People I hadn't heard from a couple of years, 4 or 5 years. CCS students that we went to school with, would show up to see the show. So that's kind of neat how, because the Motor City Brewers get so many people on their mailing list, they send that invitation out to everybody, and there is a lot of your school mates and teachers that will see that, and go reconnect with them. I'd like to see them. So Todd Erickson came by to every one of the shows, but ironically, he either came too early or too late. Like either I was just getting there and putting the work up on the wall, or I had taken it all down and I was pulling it out of boxes to show him this, that, or the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one teacher who actually showed up. I can't think of anyone else actually, but besides some of the artists who I went to school with, a couple of people. But it's neat. It's a good exercise, and if you got a lot of works that you think you could price between 5 and 50, people snatch that stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
College students, whoever's in there, because that place is busy every day. Just it's jam packed every day. They do such a good business.
Yeah. Yeah. Because every week they send me a little something on my Yahoo account, about who is this week's artist and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. They got a huge base. I don't even know if the gallery in Birmingham, if they send out their email, if they have as many people as the Motor City Brewery. Just they know all the big time collectors up there.
yeah.
Spend the big bucks.
Right. For people like Lenore Gimpert and, her
Yeah.
type of work,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm friends with her on Facebook. I've never talked to her since we graduated, but I haven't seen her work either. I've just maybe a couple of jury shows I've seen her work, but I have understood that she's been doing really well. And I remember she got hooked up with Larry Rivers at one point when they were dating right before he died, and that did a lot for her.
Mm.
But since I found her on Facebook, I befriended her like last summer or this summer, and I haven't heard a peep from her, but I haven't seen her really post her work either. It's always interesting to me to see the artists that I've befriended who have befriended me, who, if they post anything, there's a lot of people on there that I just ended up, I only have 89 friends, and I've had a lot of friends, and then I take them off because I feel if you're not posting anything, of your work or something, and what are you doing here? Like you do things, you're interactive with the medium. And a lot of other people that I'm still friends with are interactive with the medium. Why are you going to be on the medium and just look at other people?
Yeah.
And that's a flag to me. after some point. So
I feel the same way, man. You know, if you're not gonna, utilize this to grow more as an artist, and it's useless for you,
yeah,
And MySpace is like I'll admit, I was able to get in contact with Kirk Douglas, but it's just a fan thing. But I like the idea that
yeah,
someone like me can get in contact with Kirk Douglas
yeah. That is cool.
and send him something everyone. Because I read his book. I think it was called Let's Face It. I think after he turned 90, he wrote this book. And then, there's a lot of parallels between him and my father. They both play spider solitaire on the computer and whatnot to keep the mind going, little brain cells still active.
Yeah.
And, but, I'm just a fan. I know that. And half my stuff he probably never even reads, But to me, it was just interesting that, like I said, a person like me could get in contact with Kirk Douglas and, say, well, he's my MySpace friend, that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but and I posted some artwork on there, I think, in the beginning because you were on there and whatnot. And, but I didn't process the things because they were mostly sketches, like, one of your shows at Motor City Brewing. But naturally, I wanted to evolve the sketches into paintings or charcoal drawings or sculptures or whatnot, But, the impetus, that human interaction, I didn't realize how important that human interaction is, A lot of times you think it's just all you and you can just spearhead it, solely on your own. And that's true to a certain extent, but without that human interaction, sometimes you never really go into cruise control, you know what I mean? Where you've gone as far as you can go, but now something else has there's some type of lift, like air, under your wings, that's kind of taking you even further than you thought you could go. And that human interaction is really vital for that. I've always misunderstood and misunderestimated, the value of that,
Me too, a lot of times. But I find that I would rather have a few people, that I have interactions with that are creative than have a whole bunch of popularity friends. It's like a debate. It's like you weigh it over time, and it's like the few really weigh a lot more than the many, with their depth of what they're doing in their lives and the way they philosophize. And I think you're always like that. You've always been like that, so interactive with people, and you're definitely a philosopher. And it's like that's a great thing that you don't hold back. And I just get tired of those who do, and then try to judge other people or whatever. So that's definitely something that's great that you got going for you.
Yeah.
That you've had going for you for a long time,
Well, what I admire is, that you really got out here, man, and you're a working artist, and you really, I can tell you're struggling from time to time, but you're really making it work. You're not, like I said, just talking about it or wishing or making excuses for yourself. You're actually figuring this stuff out on your own, and whatnot, and working it around. And the word I wanted to say was, if the doors don't open, you're making doors for yourself that you can walk through,
Yeah.
But somehow it is not just that things are taking on a life of their own for you. You're making it take on a life of its own. To me, because I listened to this lady Kim Novak on Turner Classic Movies, because I'm the same way she is. You go in a certain direction, and you're looking for these doors to open for you. And one door after another opens, and suddenly the thing takes on a life of its own. And that gives you that feeling that you must be going in the right direction, because these doors keep opening up for you. But it can't always be that way. Sometimes, you really got to struggle, and you got to make a way where there is no way, And,
Yeah.
and you're that kind of guy.
Necessity breeds invention. That's definitely true, because, when there's been so many moments where there was no way out, no apparent way out of a situation or no apparent way to resolve something. And you just keep thinking, there's got to be a way to do this, there's got to be a way that I'm not seeing or not, it just hasn't been shown to me yet. And eventually it comes, usually, a way to solve the problem, a way to get, that money or something to cut out of my life that I don't need, that will let me let something I need in. It's like, it is hard though, because it isn't always apparent when you're trying to search for it, trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's like never ending. That's a creative process,
Right.
in life and in the art.
Have you ever talked to Marco Garcia much?
I have not. How about you?
Yeah, he's one of my Facebook friends, because I think he taught for a while at University of Michigan. I don't think he does anymore, but I think he's got his own studio and whatnot.
Okay.
He's doing all right, It's cool. Plus, he's got kids. He had kids when he was
Yeah.
going to college of creative
Yeah,
studies,
yeah.
And a wife, so,
Yeah.
But every once in a while, he'll post stuff, that he's doing that's new,
Cool.
Less now than he did before, because he had some of these photographs and stuff they did, and some sculptures that he did that was kind of interesting, post College of Creative Studies days,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time I talked to him was at a party when I by chance saw him at someone's house, an artist's house, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was saying that he was living in Ann Arbor, teaching
That's right.
and doing something, fixing up a place.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last day I talked to him. I think I gave him a call, and that's when we talked, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's coming back to me. But I haven't tried to call him or anything over the years. But it is amazing, to see how everyone, in their own way continues on. And I see Dennis Galfy once in a great while. I haven't talked to him, but like I would go to the Hazel Park McDonald's every day, basically on my way to a job or what have you, and get a tea and stuff. And he lives like not too far from there.
Does he live in Hazel Park or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I see him like walking into the grocery store or something. I know he's been teaching at Maine. I've been meaning to go over there and maybe say hi to him and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was friends with Julie Russell Smith on Facebook for a while, and I've always really loved her, but like there was no interaction with her on Facebook, or she didn't seem to ever do anything on it, like post anything. So again, I'm just like, I'm just gonna, I usually do friends because
Well-
I feel like it's, they can always write to me if they want to, or call me or whatever. We all have our numbers, but I just don't want people looking in on my life. And, not that she's even doing that, but I try to, like you said, be interactive and live. And I haven't seen her show up. I think the last time I saw her in person was at a Detroit Artist Market. There was a big group show. I think maybe she had a piece in it. There was like 120 artists. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to talk with her a little bit that night. It was cool. And, gosh, like I said, Todd Erickson at the Varsity Brewery. I did drop by once there like 8 years ago at CCS. I made an appointment with him just to come in and talk with them, show them some of the works I was working on, get a little mini critique.
Yeah.
And that was maybe like 8 years ago, 9 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Maybe longer than that. But yeah, other than that, I can't really. There's the alumni gatherings, at CCS, but I don't go to those. I haven't been to that drawing session. I think you were there the only one time I ever went there. That was cool to see you.
Yeah.
So that was neat that they had that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if they still do or not. But like you, the last 10 years, I think about art every day, but going to the sessions to draw, I haven't been able to put that above taking care of my family or trying to work. You know, I work on Sundays a lot. It's, you know, and I would like to put together a small group of artists again, like back in the old days, and just have our own private sessions and pay a model. I think that would be really cool.
Hmm.
Or find a model who would do it for free, you know.
Yeah.
But
See, I would, you know, if I'd have gotten a job, that would have been the next step. Like I said, I couldn't believe how hard it was, you know, just
yeah,
to get a little something.
yeah,
So, you know, but
yeah, it'd be nice to have something
because those were nice
sessions.
models at the
Yeah,
Saturday Drawing Clinic. It's just how to, you know, move to the next step where they could do something like, you know, be part of a mural or be part of. Because I worked on beaver boards, you know, for a while. And we were moving some roofing stuff that had beaver boards to it, and one of them was colored all blue,
Oh
and it
wow.
got me thinking again. Oh man. I
Yeah.
said, this reminds me of something. And the other guy said, well, what does this remind you of, Elijah? I said, you know, I used to paint on beaver board like this, you know. And I started to think, man, you know, I could, you know, paint the whole side either blue or red or yellow, you know, start from monochrome and whatnot. Or gesso it first, you know, and then do it, you know. And then get back into it that way. It's not that difficult, you know. And,
Right.
at least do 2 or 3, you know, pieces like that and landscape or something like that. And, but it just got me to thinking, you know, it's really time to get back to, you know, doing some painting
Yeah.
and trying to develop, you know, a more sophisticated technique, particularly with landscape, because I kind of have more of a, even though I did a lot of figurative stuff, I was actually better at landscape. I could kind of get into it a lot more than I could the figurative stuff. You know. So there's that, and the sculptures that I'd like to do. But yeah, I think, you know, I got a few ideas, but as I say, you know, it's just getting. I don't want to do one like I did when I was at College of Creative Studies, and just I want to do a whole series of things so people can kind of see how my understanding evolves, you know, through the process. So just doing many of a particular type of subject, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's really important to carry through with, you know. And like Steve Zotto was telling me, that guy, he just had a big surgery yesterday, so I hope he's doing well. But he's telling me that, you know, it's been coming to him that it's time. It's time. He's been telling me to do it. It's time for me talking to him about himself,
Hmm.
and for all of us, you know, but talking about himself, that it's just time for me to have the shows. It's time for me to put my work out there, and you know, time for me to do the things that I envision. You know, so he's been putting some extra fire under his feet, and he's going through a lot of. I think it's also a good, you know, motivation going through all these physical conditions where he's getting surgery, but he's bound and determined to recover and take this next year, you know, more aggressively and getting done what needs to be done, you know, getting his art out there and developing some things more. So he just is showing up in Birmingham now. He put something together. I guess December 1st was the opening. He just posted the card like 4 days after the opening. I had no idea he was having a show, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, and anywhere you can. You know, it really helps to have that fire.
Yeah, yeah.